one. Hey, this is Terry Bean coming at you with another episode of Business Growth Time. No guest today. Very rare. We're going to do something we've never done. Janet and I are going to get a little personal, a little intimate. We're going to talk about who we actually are. So allow me to introduce the lovely, the talented, the engaging one where I just gave away the big E, Janet E. Johnson. Flipping everything around. I'm giving the E first.
Engaging.
Engaging.
Like we are engaging. I have to give it to you. You're definitely engaging yourself. So
I am engaging myself. Yes, thank you. I engage the hell out of me. Although I don't ever watch
people. No, you engage a lot of people. You have some engaging Facebook posts. Let's put it that way.
I like to start trouble. I do. I don't know why, but I know how to do it tactfully and almost gracefully, and I know how to disagree with people in a way that makes them feel like they're heard and respected and simultaneously told to F off. And I think that's really important. Sometimes I'm less graceful with the last part. I absolutely nailed somebody the other day, but he had it coming. So
yeah, that's good. That's and I'm quieter, more just I don't want to stir the pot on Facebook, and I go delete my husband's post if he tries to.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to.
We're already getting into the personal side of our world.
Well, and I think this is it, right? And honestly, we were talking about it. We've done 60, almost. This is probably show 64, 65.
Yeah.
We've never done anything like this. And one of the old maxims is people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Right? That's a phrase started by Teddy Roosevelt, popularized by Mary Kay Ash of Mary Kay Cosmetics.
Yeah.
And it's so true. And so we're always like dropping little bits of wisdom and knowledge on people about what they could do for networking or social media or business development. We're bringing guests in to do the same. And sure, our personalities show up, but we don't ever talk about us or who we are or who we were and how we got here and what we do. And gosh, if we ever made two plugs for how we make money in the same show, we'd probably fall out of the chair. So I thought, and you seem to agree that maybe now's a good time.
Fine, yeah. I mean, I think we show a certain side of us. I mean, I guess, you and I both are pretty authentic on all across the board, with what we do. And, you go through my Instagram or feed or anything, you'll see, the pictures of my cat, the pictures of my kids, my backyard, many pictures of that. You will see your lake pictures. And
I have lake pictures.
And maybe bunny rabbits and,
I have less bunny rabbits. Those are not mine. Those are roommates. They just live here. Those are not those. I have 4 of them, but none of them are mine.
I'm not quite authentic enough though to share the picture. I considered sharing the picture of the video that I showed you this morning of my cat in the sandbox, but I thought, that was just a private message because
I haven't, it wouldn't click. My Facebook on my phone wasn't working today, so I've yet to see that. So now I'm glad you said that because I'll go back and dig it out. It's so funny. Yeah, I couldn't comment. I couldn't reply. I couldn't do anything from my phone, so I restarted it and then just hopped into this. So I haven't even looked to see if that worked, but.
Got it. Yeah, well, he likes to use the sandbox for his toilet, and I busted him.
Well, how different is it than his toilet? They're the same damn thing, right?
Same thing, exactly. I know. But
it's a cat. His brain's like this big.
He's smarter than that.
Don't confuse conniving with smart, Janet Johnson. Don't do that. So, how many cats do you have, Janet?
We have 2 cats and a dog.
2 cats. Do you like which do you like best?
They all have such a personality. I mean, they really do. The white cat, the first cat that's older, she was my cat. I always wanted a white cat for years and years, my whole life. We had one when I was little. The white cat had a fatal disease. Within 2 weeks, we had to put it down.
Oh, wow.
And I never got a white cat. We ended up with a gray one. And so I've always just wanted a white cat. I don't know what my obsession was. So I finally got this white cat from a farm, and it's a beautiful cat, but she's a little snotty. She's a snot, yeah.
Yeah, it's shocking. I've never seen this cat, right? This cat, I didn't know you had a white cat. The other cat I could identify in a lineup, right? I could pick that cat up, especially if it turned around, because it seems to do that on the show a lot. Hey, look at this. But
right here too, somewhere.
yeah, if you're watching, you'd be able to see it by T-minus 5 minutes, I'm sure.
Exactly. So yeah, so she's got her own personality, and she's very to herself, and she only likes my husband and I, and that's pretty much it. The kids she'll deal with, and she stays upstairs most of the time and doesn't come up. So
How long have you had her?
She is almost 8.
Okay.
Yep. So, and then the dog, we have a golden retriever named Jessie, and she is almost 8 also. We got the puppy and kitten at the same time. That was our agreement.
Oh, cute.
The dog person, and I'm a cat person.
So Jeff, your husband, I'm sure we've referenced Jeff numerous times. We've referenced Stephanie, my wife, a bunch. But Jeff, your husband, said, fine, you can have a white cat. I'm getting a dog.
Well, he had a dog when we got married.
Okay.
A Malamute. And
that's a big dog, right?
I had to give up my cat so I gave my cat to my brother when we got married because it would have killed my cat. So that was something I gave up having a cat until that dog died.
Wow. So you entered into this relationship, into this marriage, just giving away yourself. I see how it is.
Yeah. No.
Here goes my cat. All set. All right. So this was what was the timeline between Malamute passing and then new dog, new cat?
Under a year.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Janet had a bright idea that, the dog hung out with my older son, Jared, and then the cat hung out with me only, pretty much, in our bedroom, so mom and dad. And so I felt like my younger one, he loved cats. He's a cat attached kid. And he did.
I love cats. Cat noise.
So I had a bright idea to get this cat for his birthday. And my husband was so against it, and we got Jax, this cat that's very famous, and we call him the Lego cat because he swallowed a Lego at one point, got stuck, $2,000 surgery, had to walk around with the cone, blah, blah, blah.
That was this year, wasn't it?
Yeah, within the last year, yeah. It's been about 9 months, something like that, right? Yeah. We call him Lego Cat as a nickname, and he's our trouble. He's out and about bringing in mice. He brought a mole in the house one day. You even got a text that day about that.
Yeah.
I thought it was a mouse, and it was a mole.
It was. Yeah, they're all the same.
So anyway, that's my world of craziness with 2 kids. I'd say 3 kids because the husband is a child, and 3 boys and 2 cats and a dog, and that's my world.
That's what's up. And your boys are old?
12 and 18 now.
12 and 18.
18 next month. So yeah, they're 6 years apart. So we've got a busy world on there, and not as busy as when they were tiny. I mean, that's a whole nother world. So
but your 18-year-old, and a lot of parents that have kids that age can say, oh yeah, well, my 18-year-old will schlep the 12-year-old around. Your 18-year-old doesn't drive, right?
Nope. We are still schlepping him around. Yeah. No, he has a job, but he does not care to drive at this point. I mean, we're working on it. He does drive with me, but he's just, we don't drive anywhere. That's part of the problem. We go to the high school that's right there and back, he works right down the road and back, and that's all we ever, I work from home, so it's really hard to go places.
Wow, that was like a total eclipse. It was a cat clips of the entire video. So I told you T-5, now he's up on the mic.
Here. Say hi, kitty.
He's completely on cue. Sorry if you're listening. It's funny to watch.
The cat's tail is there. Yeah. We're getting through to the graduation time, and don't have colleges lined up at this point. He's one of those not really caring kids and about that, which we'll figure it out. And then my younger is a mini me. I'd say he's more of a mini me my older one, he's already, got the YouTube channel and, kind of has that creative marketing side to him. So not sure, we never know how they'll end up, but you just kind of want them to go after what they want to do and live and learn from things. We've lived and learned.
Absolutely, and just make up a lot of it as we go. And quite frankly, I think we lived and learned a lot younger, a lot earlier, and a lot less sheltered.
Yes.
Than our kids. I was talking about this with my daughter yesterday.
And your daughter is how old? Because we haven't gotten into your family.
Yeah, so she'll be 14 in a couple of months.
Okay.
And I was like, dude, what? Here, anytime you want to ask me about bad decisions, I'm happy to talk to you about them openly. I've made plenty. I've got all kinds of experience in the bad decision department. And let's have that conversation. I said, we have a different upbringing, you and I. I was coming home at 9 years old to an empty house. That's just how it was. And it was entertain yourself, do your thing, whatever. And so I had to grow up a lot sooner. So her world, very different. And I think that's true with a lot of kids these days. Parenting goes through cycles. I was telling her that everything swings on a pendulum, right? Whether we're talking about political correctness, whether we're talking about how parenting is, whether we're talking about participation trophies, and so we decide that it's too far and then that we have to correct it. And then we always overcorrect. Right. And then it's like, okay, well, that's too far the other way. And it takes years. And then we come back around. So this election year is changing the political correctness tone at crazy levels.
Yeah, it is. I try to not even let my children watch because of the negativity and the...
Can't watch. No one should watch.
No, exactly.
It was like South Park. At the beginning of South Park, it talks about viewing is not recommended for anyone. That's what this is. But it's again changing the narrative, and again, too far in the other direction. So
yeah. I mean, it's tough. It is tough raising kids nowadays, and I am fearing. I feel like our generation had it. We grew up in the 80s, high school in the 80s. I mean, I went with 6 friends to Mazatlan by myself in 12th grade.
Without thinking about it. Yeah.
How did my parents let me do that?
Because all the parents let all the kids do that.
Don't get it.
I didn't actually go for whatever reason, but the conversation for me for spring break that year was driving from Minneapolis to California and back. That was going to be my spring break. And my mom's like, yeah. And I had like a 1982 Chevette. The fuck? I wouldn't have made it to Grand Fork. What are you talking about? Drive to California? You're nuts. That was bad.
Is so funny. I know. We had a world of... yeah. So let's get into your family, though. You have a daughter. We already talked about that. And her name is?
Her name is Alexandria. I've been calling her Drea since she was about 6 months old. At about 4th grade, she decided to have a little pushback. And so she had several different nicknames that year. And I still call her Drea, and our family still calls her Drea. I work on trying to call her Alex or Alexandria now because that's what she prefers. But it hasn't stuck. All her friends call her Alex, though. So that'll change. I assume she'll get back to being cool and having something unique in like college years, and she'll go back to training. But whatever, she's going to do what she does, and that's going to be fine. Yeah. But she's amazing and fun, and it's like, you talk about your second son being your mini-me. She's 80% me, 20% my wife.
I feel sorry for your wife. No,
yeah, it's bad because my wife's kind of like you, right? She's less like me, let's call it. So I don't get myself in trouble with both of you if she hears. So it's kind of cool though, and it's been a lot of fun being her parent. She's active.
You have bunnies. What are your animals?
I have 4 bunnies and 2 dogs.
Oh,
I went to
that's
Vegas
busy.
for a bachelor party in 2006 with a couple of my buddies, and I came home and I had to adopt a pet. I had to rescue, and the thing was malnutrition. It was like some kind of combination greyhound, husky, whippet that was emaciated. It weighed like 7 pounds and was 5 feet tall. It is an ugly, ugly coyote deer looking dog. And I've never liked this dog, and so we've had him now for 10 and a half years, and he's still the bane of my existence. It's horrible.
I never see your dogs. They never pop up in the. Usually, I have my one dog, my only dog, under my feet, and then the cat's always there, But don't see your animals.
No, the dogs. Since the bunnies came, the dogs live upstairs, right? So the dogs live on the middle floor, and the bunnies live downstairs where my office is, and then. Once in a while, the other dog, the favorite dog, the preferred pet, as I like to refer to her, we went down. I'm adopted. So we went down to meet my birth family, and my daughter was probably 5 years old, and we drove to North Carolina, and the whole ride, do you think they'll have dogs? Do you think they'll have dogs? I really hope they have dogs. Would it be great if they had dogs? I sure wanted a dog. That would be so good if they had dogs. Not are we there yet, but are there dogs? And I've never met these people, so I have no idea. Lo and behold, we get there, and they had just had puppies 7 weeks earlier. And in North Carolina, in at least living on a farm in North Carolina, which is what my grandmother did, dogs are not pets, right? Dogs are for work. Dogs do things. They protect the yard. They're not allowed in the house. They're filthy. They're filthy pigs down there, at least in this particular environment. And so we decided to take this one dog that was actually the runt of the litter home with us. And we drove home and went to Virginia Beach on the way home. So we drove from North Carolina to Virginia Beach and hung out in the hotel with her for a couple of days. And it was kind of a neat experience. So we got to hang out with her. She was 7 weeks old, and we've had her ever since. She's not doing well, though. This last week, she's been really sick, and it's making me kind of sad. So we're going to bed early next week. So that's too bad. And then I have 4 rabbits. We got there was a 2-for-1 deal because between the 2 rabbits, they only had 7 legs. So the one was really, really pretty and gorgeous. But the deal was you could only get the pretty gorgeous one if you took the 3-legged one. So we've got Tripod the rabbit. No, it's so funny, right? And that one's actually really sweet. The pretty one, it's similar, is really bitchy, right? You could almost write the script for it, right? And the Tripod one is super nice. It's super sweet. Just try harder, I guess. I don't really know.
That's interesting.
And then that was August 2014 that those 2 showed up. And had I known that the rabbits were going to bring my wife as much joy as they did, we would have gotten rabbits years ago because it's like therapy bunnies to me. And so that part's really cool. And it really chills her out, and that part's really cool. So I'm happy about that. And so much so that come Mother's Day the following year, a couple of weeks before, she's like, look at this rabbit. This rabbit needs a home. We really should go get this rabbit. And it was in Lansing, which is about an hour from us. So for Mother's Day, I surprised her, and we drove out to Lansing and went and picked up this rabbit.
Wow.
And that was 7 or 8 months later. And so that was May 15. And in September of 15, she's like, oh my gosh, this poor rabbit needs a home. We really need to rescue this one. And it was a lion head, which is a funky looking rabbit. And he's super cute. He's super cute. It was a lion head that was in a lop rabbit farm, and lops are the traditional floppy-eared rabbits that people think about. And so this rabbit had been there for like 4 months, and no one was claiming it because it was the wrong kind of rabbit. And so she's like, I got to go get it. And so she drove from our house with our daughter. They made a weekend of it. I forget, Tennessee or Kentucky, but Tennessee. So 3 states away from Michigan to go get a rabbit because my wife's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's a special kind of rabbit lover.
rabbits. It's still kind of a.
Oh, I've got
I,
rabbit
I,
corner.
I'm craving another cat, but nobody will let me. So.
No, nor should they. No, that's too many cats.
Someday I want to have a teacup Persian.
That's a thing. A teacup Persian type of
Oh,
cat.
yeah.
Can we put that in the show notes? Teacup Persian with just a little picture of it.
I got $3,000 or $4,000 to buy that thing, though.
What? Yeah, right. That's funny. So you walk in our house and it smells like, Animal Farm. It's great.
My God.
It's awesome. Who doesn't love that? And I've got friends coming over tonight. I've got my wife is gone and my kid is gone. So the boys are going to come over and hang out. And she's like, all right, and do something to make the house smell better. I'm like, get rid of the rabbits. No, that's not the right answer.
Air freshener. Lots of air freshener.
That's not the answer.
Some candles.
So
interesting. Well, good. Well, that's, I want to back it up, though, because you mentioned something I think a lot of people will probably go, and I get this, and so I think, we could address it. I'm fine with it. That you're adopted.
Yeah, and you are too.
You're adopted, yes. And that's an interesting, a lot of people, go, whoa. They think it's a major deal because, most people grow up with their birth parents.
Right, yeah.
And even my kids look at me and go, Mom, you're not, don't you want to know your real parent? And for me, I don't. Never have, never will at this. I mean, would I be 100% against it? No, but do I need to hunt them down? No. So it's interesting that, my sister's adopted also, and we're very public about it. We don't mind at all. She adopted her boy.
Oh, nice.
She has too, because, she believes in the adoption process and she couldn't have her own. And so we just grew up never wanting to find our parents.
That's cool. That's very cool. So I never wanted to, let me see how I was going to say it. I never found my dad. I never even looked for my dad. But I found my mother. I started at 18 years old, and I would take one tiny step toward finding them every couple of years, right? So it was no rush, no hurry, no anything. And I finally found them. I mentioned we went down in 2006, right? So it took me 17 years. So it wasn't like this is a burning desire to do it.
Wow. And I could have done it too. I mean, I thought about it slowly. And there was one time I had the paperwork in front of me. And the main reason was because my first birth had a lot of issues with my oldest son. And the questions that come a lot are, what's your background? What's your background? And I don't know anything.
I got nothing.
That was my biggest reason that I considered it. But then that's interesting. So what did you, in the end, how do you stay in contact?
So my mom actually died. My mom died in 1982, which is interesting because it's the same year I moved to Minnesota. So within like a month or so of my adopted mother getting remarried to the asshole, my former stepfather, my birth mother actually passed away. And it's uncanny how much my birth mother and my adopted mother actually look alike. It's like, that's wow. So my mom, no one ever thought you look adopted because I look like my mom. And then when my dad got remarried, my dad evidently had a type. I look like my stepmom. So no one ever really questioned it either side because I didn't look out of place unless I was just with my dad, who was 5'9" and 145 pounds. I'm 6'1", 220. 225. But it's a whole different thing, right? And so it was kind of cool. And so when I was down there, you asked if I stayed in touch. My grandmother passed away, who was my mom's mom. So we went down the first time. I saw them a couple of times when they'd come up, them being my mom's sister and my mom's brother. My mom's brother actually lived here. And I had a brother. She had another son.
That's what I was wondering, yeah.
And so I met him. But we were Facebook friends for a while. Now we're not. I don't know what happened there.
You got sick of your crazy posts.
Yeah. Maybe he's like, I have a very strong extroverted side, and I have an equally strong introverted side,
Got it.
and he's straight up introvert. So maybe, just maybe,
You're a little too extroverted for him.
yeah, he's couldn't handle it. I don't know. But so we haven't seen them in a little while, and actually, my cousin, my aunt's daughter, got murdered a couple of years ago.
Wow.
And so I didn't make the phone call to say, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then it got to the point where it's like, you suck. You haven't made this phone call.
Yeah.
And now it's like they're flooding right now because of Hurricane Matthew. I don't normally timestamp our events here, but it just happened last week. So for future reference. So I haven't called to make sure they're okay, because now I feel awkward because it's been so long since I've called. So.
That's a tough, because it's not your close knit family,
right? They're just people.
Yeah, I don't have time for finding. Yeah, no, I don't need it.
I don't really want it.
Well, and the thing is, I mean, if you get my mother died too. My adopted mom, who I would just call my mom, but my adopted mom died when I was 23, and then my dad remarried, and he's just a fantastic dad. I can't ask for better, and I was raised very well, and I can't complain at all. I'm happy that it happened that way. So
that's great.
So it's kind of an interesting, but with Facebook and social media, I'm sure if I really wanted to, I could find.
Well, Dad's name is Lenny Pugliese, and he lives in Trenton, New Jersey. So I know where he is. I just haven't figured it out. But when I was down there, I saw pictures of he and Mom. The story goes that he came up to visit over spring break, just 8 months before I was born, 6 months probably before I was born, and was never heard from again. Disappeared. So my best guess is she said, I'm pregnant. He said, hasta la vista, chica, and jetted. She was supposed to have me. She was going to keep me. And at the last moment, ringed up Lutheran Social Services and put me up for adoption.
That's where I was.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
The paperwork at some point. Yes.
That's cool.
So funny.
Yeah, they must do it a lot. So
I guess so. Well, back in the day,
Yeah, right. And so now, I looked at him and I'm like, there's no way that's my dad. I mean, those pictures don't look even remotely plausible. So who knows? But that's an interesting, what's an interesting piece. So, and my parents were cool too. I wasn't looking, with the hope of replacing them by any stretch of the imagination.
Yep, cool. Yeah, and my dad would never be offended if I chose to too. So, but it's just a matter of preference, and it's not a priority. I have one friend though that's just on my case. Oh, you need to, I'm like, why? But they don't get it so it's interesting. We'd love to hear feedback if any of you know about the adoption thing, if you are adopted.
Is your cat up on the ceiling? What is going on? I'm sorry. She's staring off into space, which is odd because she's in the same office she spends multiple hours a day in.
I don't know.
Is it a spider?
Water just went flying off the deck. Just loads of water. Something must have tipped over, I guess. I don't know. Sorry. I'm like, what's going on?
It's like I'm like, I think the technology froze. No, it's still working.
Sorry about that. So anyway, so adopted, I'd love to hear, if you have a story behind that. It's just something that's, I guess that's way back our personal background. It's something I don't really think about every day at all.
Yeah, and I forgot that I was until it fell out of my face. Right?
Exactly. So that's interesting. Well, cool. Well, other than that, we have
we did a horrible job talking about our business and how we make money.
Yeah, we do have a little bit of a life on the side of our job or our businesses. We don't have jobs, but our business. I do feel like. When you're an entrepreneur, your business tends to become a lot of your life, and I don't think it's a bad thing, but I think it, you need that work-life balance, and I try really hard, but especially lately, my workload has been so major that I don't have as much of a work-life balance, but, you know, my husband forces me to go in the boat, even though I know I should be working.
Well, and I was going to say that's something else we have in common, right? We both spend time on a boat and on the water, and I love that. And I was telling my wife, who was supposed to be on vacation today, she's going up north with her mother and her sister to go look at the leaves. Work expands to fill the time allotted, right? So as long as you'll put time toward work, there will be work to do.
Yep.
And it's
yeah.
just so true. And so for me, I'm like, I have the ability to cut it off. I am not a brain surgeon. I am not someone that if I don't get back to you tomorrow, it's a life or death thing. I'm working on I've got a chiropractor that wants to set up speaking events where he can go and do lunch and learns. And so I'm going to talk to you about this because I want you to help me manage some outsourced talent, and let's figure out how we can make this become a reality for this guy. But I was like, yeah, I'll get back to you in a day. And the person I needed to reach out to have it done couldn't get back to me for 2 days. So I responded to him a day later, and I said, and you know what? So what?
Yeah.
Turns out that nobody died. You know, it's okay.
Yeah. And I agree. I think, you know, for all entrepreneurs out there, I mean, it's very important to, you know, the sad thing is when I walk upstairs, because I'm in the office and I literally like stay down here in the office most of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I walk upstairs, there's the dishes, there's the laundry, there's the kids coming home with their homework, you know, reality. So, you know, sometimes I prefer my business.
Yeah, sure.
The other side of it.
Do you have a door?
Oh, I have many doors, yes.
No, I meant like on your office. Do you open a door to get in and out of your office?
Yes.
Okay. Because sometimes I have an archway, right?
Oh.
So if I lean back far enough, my family room is right outside my office, and I can look at the TV from my desk. If I, you know, and once in a while, like on a Sunday if football's on or a Monday night, I'll sit here and do stuff and I'll watch the game, which means that I'm not doing either one of them particularly well, right? And that's the downside. But that's why a door to me is always important, because once you shut the door, you can actually feel like you've left the office.
Got
Not that you can't open the door back up, but.
Well, I don't come to the basement very often. The office is in the basement, and then we have my child's, I won't do it behind the scenes because it's crazy over there, but we've got the workout area, we've got the play area, and then we got the whole video game thing. And so I need this door because my oldest will sit out there and yell at the video games.
You got it.
I must have the door when they're home.
That's so funny. Yeah, speaking of, he's probably almost home, right? Or
he gets home actually after the younger one. So
really?
Joel gets home first. He'll be home any minute. And then Jared will be home in 45 minutes after that. Yeah, they're it's weird. Yeah, the system here is just strange on how they do it. The high schoolers should be earlier, and they're not. They're later. Yeah.
They're later.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like when my kid was in elementary school, she started at 9, and now that she's in middle school, they start at like 7:55, and I know the high school starts before that.
Joel gets picked up for the bus at 7.
At 7 o'clock.
Starts at 7:30. Mm-hmm.
That's way too early.
It is very early for middle school, but he started an hour and a half later last year. Hour and a half.
So yeah, same thing then, really, 9 to 7:30.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so it's an interesting, but you know what? What's great for me is I get him on the bus. I'm up in the morning, and I'm down in my office by 7 a.m.
Well, yeah, because you're an hour behind me, and I'll message you thinking, well, she'll get to this when she gets to it, and then you'll respond, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Go back to bed, sister. What are you doing?
No, it helps me be an early bird and get the work done. So,
and then
that sometime, I think, when my most productive times are a couple hours in the morning, and I think, we should talk about productivity times at some point.
Well, that's funny because option 2 for today's topic was productivity.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. That was the other, we could talk about this, or we could talk about execution and being more productive, getting things done.
Yeah.
So
I like it. I think that's a great subject, and I think well, we all need help with it. But I mean, I'm still working on it day by day, but it is.
yeah,
It's,
that's I'm running around this month teaching realtors how to get more done, right? And so I've got
oh,
6 or 7 different presentations to groups of real estate professionals talking about stop telling everyone you're so busy and close more deals. That's the title of the talk.
yeah.
And so there's a lot of productivity tips and focus tips inside of there. And it's fascinating to me because really I'm more equipped to have that as a conversation and as a discussion than as a lecture, because I look at my to-do list and there's a couple of things on there that were on there last week, and it's Friday. And one of them is get this damn newsletter out that I was going to send out in August. And I have a good excuse for not doing it in August, but I have no excuse that it's 2 weeks into October and it's still not done, aside from I'm chicken. I'm going to put this show, though. It's going to be one segment. I'm going to have a whole section of my newsletter dedicated to this show. Frozen. That means I froze.
Awesome. Yeah.
Oh, good.
You're frozen.
Somebody's frozen.
Or am I? Okay. Well, cool. Well, are we working? Are we good?
I don't know. It says it's recording. You're just not moving. So do you see me moving? I don't know. It's very fun. Oh, and I just got a note that said my internet connection is unstable.
Weird.
Just like me. So
there we go.
Oh, now we're all back.
I back.
Yo, yeah, we're totally live and hip and hopping.
Mine's unstable. Okay, I'll tell Joanne that part happened. So
you might have just told her.
Yeah, there you go. Joanne, please cut that part out. Okay, and this part too.
and anything that relates to this whole thing about being unstable, because we don't want people to know that in this show. Actually, you could leave that part. That part makes sense.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, I think I think this is good. We do have a little bit of a life other than our business, just a little bit.
We did, which we didn't talk about still, and that was boring. They're not boring, but bad. We should have done that. But maybe we'll do a part 2, and we'll talk about the actual business side of life.
Yeah.
So this will be part 1, about us, part 1, personal, and then we'll do about us, part 2, business.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's probably good. Because how we got here.
And how often do you look at other people and go, what exactly do they do? I do it all the time.
What do they do?
Yeah, and so maybe people are asking that about us. So I think it's a good thing to, narrow it down and really explain. You hope your website explains it, and you hope your social explains it, but it's funny because people read things in different ways.
Well, and it's really kind of arrogant to assume that people went to your website to find out. Right? I mean, if you think about it. But I mean, think about it.
Or wherever.
But even just like the idea, people ask all the time, well, did you see my Facebook post? Are you kidding me? I have 2,500 Facebook friends. Did I really? No, I did not see your Facebook.
Well, and I was saying that meaning somebody wondering what you do and how you do it.
Yeah, I guess.
Then they need, I guess if I were wondering, that's the very first thing I do. I first go snoop on their Facebook, and then I go look at the Facebook page, and then I go, let's talk about how we snoop on people. That would be a good one, too.
Social stalking. Yeah, I like that. That would be cool. We could do that. So good. Now we have like a couple of show ideas, too.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And if any of you guys have any ideas for us, we definitely would love to hear. We have a couple guests coming up that will be great. We always will be continuing to bring some great guests on, and if you have any suggestions of what you want to hear about, we definitely are open to that. But our main goal is to make sure that your business is growing through business networking or social media, internet marketing, emails, all that kind of jazz. And we cover a lot of that. So you can find us at businessgrowtime.com is the easiest. That's where our blog is. We are on YouTube. We have now loaded in a lot of our YouTube. We had a little break. I'd say one of the funnest ways to find us and find every single show we have is on Instagram. So you could search us there too. We are on iTunes. It's Business Growth Time /iTunes. And then join our group. Be sure to join our group on Facebook. And that is businessgrowthtime.xyz. Did I get that right this time?
You did. You absolutely nailed it. Forget about that old .com. That is so 1998. We are .xyz. That's what's up.
Awesome. So thank you, Terry. Thank you guys for joining us. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you real soon.